Alright, so I'm starting this video a little bit late because I got a little preoccupied last night trying to get these lights in. Yes, there's a gap. I get that. And I had to stop pushing on it. I'll show you the other one here, and I'll show you why. See the way it started to crack? And that was after being heated up. So that's why I pretty much stopped. I figure the gap that's there, you can kind of see it there. I could probably fill it in with RTV and at least cover up the hole. I would have liked to have gone further in, but like I said, it was cracking pretty bad. So anyway, let me show you what I did on the first one. This is basically, got these ends off Amazon. Never mind my daughter's hermit crab in the background there. Couple of electrical ends tied into the end of the light. This way I can disconnect it if need be. If something happens and I need to replace the light, I can still just disconnect it, cut the wires, and start from scratch. So, as you can see, I've got this one here. These are the ends. This is how it came. These are all from Amazon. And actually, you can see how to do these with, if you follow Sloan Speed Shop on YouTube. He shows you how to get these in. Bunch of other people have done it, and it's worked out pretty well. This is going into a 2021 Ram 2500. So these are the other ends of the connectors here. This will actually get connected to the wire harness. Got a couple of different connectors here as well. So that's one there, 16 to 22 gauge wire, which is pretty much what all this is 16 gauge. And then I have these here, which are actually the type where it solders the wires in together. That's a little piece of solder right there in the middle. But I've been having issues with those things melting. So I don't know if it's just the brand that I got or what the deal is, but it's not just the solder that's melting. It's actually pretty much all of it. So let me set it up and I'll show you how I get these on, and we'll get to the install here shortly. Alright, so as you can see, I've already got one on here. I'm going to get ready to do the other one. Again, like I said, I'm not going to use the soldering type, this one, for the reason of, I just don't like the way it melts. So, I'll get the wire inside of there, just like so. I'm going to take crimpers, go to the 16, 22 to, well, it's actually 22 to 18 is what it says, but I'm going to get just a little bit into it there and kind of see the silver part of the connector. And we're just going to crimp down on it, give it a good little push. Alright, that's on there now, not coming off. So now we got to get to the ones on the lights, and I'm doing these one at a time. So I'm just going to twist that up a little bit, and because of the fact that that thing is so long, I have to cut it down some. Alright, so that's that one. That's going to be the black wire, so we'll get this one inserted here. Maybe. Oops. Always twist the end of the wire if you're not using solder. I probably should have just soldered it, but kind of being lazy this morning. It's early. Alright, there we go, we're in. So again, back to the crimper. Make sure you give yourself a little bit of room in there as well. Give it a little tug, make sure it took. Yep, good deal. Alright. Do the positive side now. Again, cut a little bit off, not much. Oop, that was a little much. We'll see how well this one works out. Well, it's in there. So we'll see. Make sure you're pushing in on this one here, the wire, to hold it in place while you crimp. Just get it started and give it a good push. Alright, we're good. A little bit of a tug going on there. Now, I'm going to take the heat gun. We're going to knock these down some. Get the shrink wrap. It's actually on these connectors. shrinking around the wires there. Give you a little bit of a waterproofing kind of sort of thing going on there. Make sure you got both sides. Don't just do one and expect it to shrink itself all the way around, because that won't work. Not to mention, it kind of helps hold the wire in as well. Alright, top looks good. Let's get to the bottom. And then once I'm done with all this, the other thing I'm going to do is wrap it all up with electrical tape. Basically all I'm doing is just trying to, again, make it somewhat waterproof. This is the last thing in the world you want. You get water in those connections, and you're done. So, come on, meltdown. Just gotta switch over to high here for a second. Alright, if you're using a heat gun, again, make sure that you're not, yep, that's one. Make sure that you don't set it down on anything you don't want burnt up. So get these put together here real quick. Wrap a little bit of electrical tape around it. Start from the wires itself and then work down and back. Always your best bet. Now, I am no electrical engineer, but I did go to electronics school when I was younger, which is kind of really helping me with this whole endeavor. So I've got a 79 Trans Am also that has to be, wow, that's hot. Holy cow. Still has to be completely rewired. So by leaving this hot when I'm wrapping the wire around it, or the tape around it, I should say, sorry, it is also helping melt the tape to the connection to give it a tighter fit and a little bit of extra waterproofing to it. Now I know there's going to be somebody out there somewhere that's going to say, you don't need to do that. Well, guess what? That's the way I do it. And I've never once had an issue with any of my connections. All right. Oops. Just gonna press that down a little bit. Make sure everything's nice and copacetic. I do have small pieces of wire loom also laying around that'll probably wind up putting around this as well to help insulate a little bit more. But it's in there, it's not moving. So that's good. Alright, so now the wiring harness that I got came off Amazon. It's just a generic wiring harness is all it is. It is 16 gauge wire, and it's got this goofy little plastic sort of shiny thing on the end of it. But it comes with these two connections right here, and they're not going to work for me because they are side clip, not top clip, which is what I have here. So these came in a pack of 4 with the 2 ends and the 2 females and the 2 males. So I'm going to cut these off and then attach those, same process. So I'm not going to bore you with that, so I'll get back to you here in a minute. Okay, so there it is. Got the one on there that I need. A little bit of wire tape, electrical tape. Just wrap around it. Help water seal it a little bit. And let me get to the other one done, and then we'll get to the install in the truck, hopefully. Alright, so don't do what I just did. I had to go and pay a visit to the neighbor who's a former surgery tech. Yeah, this little knife right here, it's sharp. Give me a pretty good slice. So anyway, I was paying attention to what I was showing you guys, and I completely messed up the fact that I put the wrong end back on this wiring harness. So now I got to take this whole thing apart and then redo it. So, yeah, this may be a while. Get back to you. Alright guys, so we're back. Fingers all patched up. Compliments of a Sheffield knife. And dollar store liquid skin. A 4x4 and some tape. And a neighbor who's a former surgical tech. So, normally I would do it myself being a medic, but it was kind of tough to hold it closed and put the stereo strip on at the same time. Anyway. So, got the correct end down this time. It's going to be red to white, black to black. And same thing for the other side. Red to white, black to black. A little more electrical tape wrapped around it where it comes out of the harness. And here's where we go from here. So, because of the fact that I don't need this entire harness, I don't need the inline fuse, so I can cut that out. I do not need the ground wire being what it is, because it's not going to, and again, for the life of me right now, I just cannot think of what the hell this is. But anyway, I don't need that. I've got the snow prep package on my Ram 2021 Ram 2500. So that gives me the extra wire connections underneath the hood, and that is already fused and regulated, so I don't need that. So I can cut the rest of this off. There's my ground wire. Probably what I'll wind up doing is finding a ground somewhere underneath, so I just have to run the power line up to that port and just have the one wire sticking out. So let me go get my black wire and get this ground taken care of, and we'll get back to you when we get to the hood. Alright, so here we go. Oops, sorry about that. So that is going to replace that. And what I was talking about with the Snow Chief package, these little puppies right here, which there's two of them here. Oops, sorry, let me get my hand out of the way. What I'm going to be doing is connecting right into that, which will eliminate me having to run a relay. Relay, that's what it was. Or a fuse, because it's already done through the truck. So it's just a matter of getting the one wire run up here, and that's it. And I'll show you the connections that Ram gives you with the trucks for that. Alright, so here's the bag. These are all your connections right here. And this is what Ram gives you from the factory. It's the Upfitter wiring kit, which I'm sure you can find them on eBay, or probably eBay, or from your local Ram Dodge dealership. But if you go to, read this here, ramtruck.com/ram-commercial bodybuilder's guide. It tells you everything you need to know, and it actually tells you that you have the relay and the fuse already built into the system, so you don't need to run a separate one. So that's why I cut all that out of the wiring harness. So let me show you underneath now. Okay, so right where I've got the light shining, right here, that's the plastic piece right there. You can see one of the fittings right here, and there should be 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 5 of them total. It should be an 8mm, but let me check that real quick and double check and make sure. So the answer to that question is yes, it's an 8mm. So it's pretty much impossible for me to hold this phone, which is what I'm filming on, and get all this off at the same time. So like I was talking about, and if I can get this phone up inside here, let me move the light. And of course, there you go. You can see it right there. You got to take all those out in order to get the new one in, and you'll have to transport the, well, not transport, but move the screw fittings to the new piece when you put that one in. So let me get this stuff. Okay, so we got it out, and these are the little 8mm fittings I was talking about. So these things were literally just fitting in here like so. So these will get moved to these. And then once I get it in, just tighten it down and boom, done. However, I noticed one thing. Now this is on the passenger side. This one here, because of this bracket, that one will not come out. So I'm gonna have to slide it in there in place in order to get it in. So let's see. Nope. Yeah, it's not so easy to do with one hand. So I gotta get that wire in that hole. There we go. And why does this not seem like it's fitting correctly? Uh-oh. All right, I need to figure this out. Let me get back to you. All right, so I got to figure it out. Just got to put this side in first, and then I'm gonna have to go underneath and get that one teeth in, and then go from there. Other than that, I think it looks pretty damn cool. So let me get to the rest of it. Okay, so we got one in. That outer side over there was a little bit of a bear. Had to put the T-nut in first, then slide the whole thing in, and then trying to get that thing, I had to get the nut back onto the T-nut, or the T-bolt, which was a real pain in the rear end. So what I did was, again, 2021 Ram, ran it in underneath the whole bumper assembly here. Then I've got the wire running across the bottom of the opening, where you could put like probably a 30-inch light bar would fit in there. And if you're wondering, there are cross members there for you to be able to bolt to for putting a light bar in. So again, ran it underneath here and then came out right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ground right there to one of those two, because it's all metal, and then straight to the frame. That way I don't have to run that long of a ground wire and run the ground wire all the way up to the top. The power wire will get run all the way up, and there is room to run it up there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is room to run it up there. So I will wind up doing that, and then I'll show you when I get to the wiring. Again, these things are a pain. They take a little bit at a time, so if you're in a rush, don't attempt this. Wait for it. So now it's gotten to a point where I have no choice. I have to use the one with the solder in it. This is the end I was talking about with the Upfitter package. See the way it's got the little rubber thing on there? That actually fits in there, creates a watertight seal inside that. So now I've got one wire in there like so. That's going to be the main power line coming off of the lights. So now I got them both inside of there. Now what I got to do is I got to heat this whole thing to get it to melt correctly. And to do so, which hopefully get this thing to stay together somehow. So you gotta warm it up first. Figuring maybe if I just give it a good nice warm, then switch over to hot, hopefully this thing will melt correctly and won't completely decimate the wire on me. Yeah, the shrink tubing's already starting to shrink down. That's a problem. That solder's got a pretty high heat point to it. I'll just keep it off here a little bit. Hopefully this thing will melt off. I would have continued using the regular connections, the wire crimp connections, but yeah, I'm not that lucky. I ran out. And of course, since I don't have any more laying around, but I got plenty of these, here's my next choice. Definitely going to have to wrap some tape around it regardless. Oh man, this thing's getting really freaking... Yeah, see, the damn solder is just not melting down. Shrimp tubing's melting down fine. The solder's not. Therein lies the problem. Sorry it's taking so long, guys. For anybody that's actually watching this, if you want to fast forward, by all means, feel free to go ahead. Because even this is annoying me at this point. Remember, if you're using a heat gun, don't lay it down on top of anything that's not, you don't want to burn. It looks like it melted down enough, so let me go get some electrical tape, let this cool down a little bit, and then we'll wrap it. Alright, so you can see, I've got it all taped up, so that shouldn't be a problem now. Again, this goes into the upfitter switches, and the other end will get connected to the hot on the lights. And I'll show you where I'm putting the ground. Excuse the wind, now it's cold and windy out here. So here's the upfitter switch. Basically just pull this right off of the main connection. There's the wire that comes with the truck. Right now it's plugged in the top right, which is number 3. Number 3 is ignition fed, which means the lights won't work unless ignition's on, which is exactly what I want. So this will go right back on to the connection right here once I get done, finish wiring everything. I'm not going to put juice to it until I get everything done underneath. So you can see you got the one bolt here. Oops, right there. A little bit further up, that's another bolt. That's my ground. My positive wire's coming down. I'll connect that to the positive on a wiring harness, and we should be good to go. So a few little zip ties here and there, just tie everything up out of the way nice and neat, and we should be working. So we'll give it a test here in a few minutes after I get everything hooked up. All right guys, here it is, moment of truth. Keys in my pocket. Auxiliary switch 1, 2, 3. If I did everything correctly, we should have lights. Oh, we have lights. Those suckers are bright too. Holy cow. My glasses are tinted right now. Well, there you go. That was the trick. So once again, you guys have any questions, I took this video from Sloan's Speed Shop, and to give you guys a quick idea of what else I've done, I've got the AVA bug shield. I did the window vents, the running boards.
I love those. I watch them all the time.
Those are not factory, obviously. I got them from either American truck or real truck, don't remember which. There's the hard cover, which everything runs down through the, there's like a couple of water channels up front, and I got a hell of a deal on this thing, so that's why I went for it. Not that you can see it right now, but there's a bar holding in, the blue thing was holding in those bins. It's kind of got my fire department stuff and whatever else in it. These are actually rails that are put up to the side. That's what holds the entire bed cover. Oh, listen to that handy. Listen to that handy. Oh. So there you go, guys. That is putting in fog lights on a 2021 Ram 2500. Did it all myself. A little bit of a gap here, but I don't think that's going to be a big issue. Yep, they're right. Same thing on this side, but it could be just the... I mean, they're actually... These are OEM parts. I don't know if they're necessarily for this truck, but they are OEM parts. So, there you go. If you have any questions, just hit me up and let me know.